Can everyone hear me in cyberspace out there? Can you hear? Okay, there we go. Thank you. Happy summer. Today is the first day of summer. Can you believe that? I hope everyone's having a really good summer, and I know we've got lots of people on vacation, people that aren't working over the summer, but we still have a good, healthy attendance here, so I appreciate that very much. There are quite a few things to celebrate today. So let's get started. Welcome to all who are here. We've got more coming in. I see we're upgrading the refreshments, which is good. So for all of you out there, they're getting better and better. I want to start by thanking everyone, the entire HCCC family, for your support and participation in the college's recent, really, I think, spectacular and truly inspirational commencement ceremony held at Red Bull Arena in Harrison. We haven't met since then. This was, of course, an historic celebration of our students, their family members, their loved ones, our faculty, staff, trustees, friends, and community. This is truly the culmination of our mission, the reason all of us are involved in college life. For those of you that were not able to attend, there were more than 7,000 people in the stadium to see and congratulate the nearly 800 participating graduates from our classes of 2020, 21, and 22. Most of them, of course, were current graduates, but there were a healthy number of graduates who came back, and I thought that was really noteworthy. And it was just a tremendous event and celebration. And so we look forward to many more future commencement ceremonies. I think it's pretty clear they're going to be at Red Bull in the future, as long as they allow us. I think this is our new venue. We've gotten lots of positive feedback on it. Of course, the most important part of that venue is there are plenty of seats for everyone, and I think our graduates, last I heard, brought an average of 7.5 guests. Those halves had to sit in another area, but 7.5 guests per graduate. That's how significant this is to the families of our students, so many of whom are first in their families to attend higher education. So no restrictions on how many people our students can bring. And there was really pretty much plenty of parking. I think the parking went amazingly well, at least from everything that I have heard. So I want to say thank you. This is really one of those events that it really does take a whole village. This was the whole village, but I do have to, and I always worry about this because I know I'm doing sins of omission, but I want to thank, in particular, a few people, Dr. Lisa Doherty, Dr. Nicholas Chevroletti, who co-led the Commencement Committee, Dr. Jones, Dr. David Clark, Veronica Gerasimo, Angela Tuzzo, Alexa Briano, Ilya Ashmian, Julio Maldonado, and Jack Quigley. They did yeoman's work to make this event happen. Our registrar's office team and so many others too numerous to mention. We had such wonderful turnout of faculty and staff to help, just to help execute this really huge, huge event. So how about a round of applause for everyone who made this celebration of our students possible? Thank you. And of course, this segues well into our student success work because there's no better manifestation of our student success than graduation. So at this time, it's my pleasure to invite our gifted colleague, Dr. Heather DeVries, who co-chairs our Student Success Dream Team, to offer an update. Her compatriot, Dr. Sheila Dine, and the other Dr. D, is on a well-deserved vacation, but Heather is here. Heather, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Just a brief update. I wanted to circle back to something we haven't spoken about in these ATD updates for several months now, which are our two overarching student success goals. When we wrote our action plan in summer of 2020 and submitted it to Achieving the Dream, all of the activities and strategies were really framed by these two overarching, very ambitious, but definitely possible goals. So I wanted to bring everyone's attention back to these as we recently, thanks to John Scanlon and John Ergola, received an update on our progress in meeting those goals. And there was really some exciting news to share. So we had two overarching goals. The first one was increasing fall-to-fall persistence for first-time full-time students from 58% to 64% by June 2024. So for our most recent fall-to-fall retention rate is 62%. So that's really remarkable that we are 2/3 of the way to our projected target, still with 2 years to go. So that's really remarkable. And then even better news, our second goal was creating a culture of care that supported all students in persisting fall to fall from 61% to 67% by, again, June 2024 is kind of that deadline. And we've actually already achieved this. The persistence rate for the most recent measurable group of students was 67%. So we are already there. So really just onwards and upwards from here. And then again, in the coming months, we'll have our updated 3-year graduation rate, but we're expected to see some really healthy growth and increases there as well. So just kudos to everyone on behalf of Dr. Dinan, who is on a very well-deserved vacation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This truly has taken a village. Thank you.
That is huge. And, you know, it doesn't, oh, wow. Welcome back. We're so happy to see you. 61 to 67 may not sound like a lot, but remember, that's a 10% increase. And this needle moves very slowly. It takes a lot of effort to move it. We're really moving it. And that's really exciting. And again, that's the result of the whole village. So let's keep that going. Okay. Hudson Scholars is, of course, a component of this. And that program just continues to really have strong positive results, inspirational results. The students who are enrolled in Hudson Scholars continue to demonstrate success 3 to 5 times that of their non-EOF or non-Hudson Scholars peers. If you think about that, that's pretty phenomenal. On Wednesday, June 8th, I was invited to attend the quarterly meeting of the Aleutian North America Executive Advisory Group in Reston, Virginia. Reston is where Aleutian has its headquarters. This executive advisory group consists of technology and educational leaders throughout the United States and Canada. And I was invited to participate in a 90-minute fireside chat, that's what they called it, with Aleutian's president and CEO, Laura Ibsen. And they invited me specifically to talk about Hudson Scholars. They had heard about this program, and you know, Trish, I don't know if do you know Laura Ibsen by chance? You do. She's very impressive, very focused on student success, and people were just really interested in hearing about it. So that was on June 8th. The next day, on June 9th, several of us were interviewed by the American Association of Community Colleges Senior Vice President for Public Relations, Martha Parham, on her monthly national podcast called CC Voice. And this was to discuss Hudson Scholars. And so joining me were Dr. Gretchen Schultes and John Ergola, who have led the Hudson Scholars project with such dedication and excellence, and also Letitia Straker, who's a Hudson Scholars student who just completed her first year in the program. This will air, it's an audio podcast. It will air, I think, maybe in July. But, you know, I want to say it continues to be so affirming, and I think a real tribute to so many members of the HCCC family who are involved in this work to observe this growing national interest in HCCC best practices. It also helps us, by the way, with things like grant submissions and award recognitions. At last week's meeting of our HCCC Foundation Board, we had a wide-ranging discussion about Hudson Scholars, the work and its implications, and with the leadership and support of Vice President Nicole Johnson, the foundation is appointing a committee to advocate funding through gifts and grants for the continued scaling and sustainability of the Hudson Scholars Program. So Gretchen and John, don't know if you're here today, but thank you for your outstanding leadership of the Hudson Scholars Program. And certainly we want to thank our Hudson Scholars advisors, counselors, and mentors for all they're doing for our students in the college and other members of the HCCC family, too numerous to mention, who are contributing to the success of our students and the positive outcomes in this program. So I wanted to say a little more about this program. You'll recall this is a program that was specifically designed to test the efficacy of scaling up the highly successful elements of our EOF program to a larger number of HCCC students. We know year after year, Tajel's here, we see some of our most at-risk students who were involved in EOF, some 200 of them, significantly outperformed their peers. Why is that? It's in some ways not rocket science at all. EOF is organized around what you see in the literature as best practice efforts to retain students and help them get to the finish line. Those include very high-touch coaching and mentoring of advisors, counselors with students. They don't just advise them, they're working with them step by step, almost as a partner that's there at all times. And secondly, financial stipends to reward students when they reach academic milestones that they define with their counselors, high impact educational practices, field trips, summer immersion programs for students when they begin the journey, I believe, mostly. And I know we're now doing that for fully online students, which I think is just phenomenal. And very intrusive, in the best sense of the word, early alerts. So a system that lets our staff and faculty know as quickly as possible when a student is exhibiting, concerns or having problems, so that we can address those with the student, support the student without too much time passing. Time is the enemy in this work. And so all those things combined, result each year in, because I've now having been 4 years as president, I've had the honor of attending, graduation celebrations of our EOF students. And, again and again, they're talking about, this is a family. This proved to be an experience where I really knew that I was supported and loved. And I feel now like I'm a member of a family, and the EOF students come back for anniversaries, and I can go on and on. It's a really phenomenal program, and it's very similar to the much celebrated program of the City University of New York called ASAP. I think Academic Success of Associate Programs or something like that. So those are the ingredients. Well, why aren't we all nationwide in our sector that frankly is plagued by horrible completion rates? I don't care where you go. They're way too low. They're particularly low in institutions that serve really high-risk students like we do, and not because the students aren't committed, quite to the contrary, it's because of life's barriers that they're trying to navigate. Why don't we have EOF everywhere? Why aren't we using this, which we know works? We have empirical data that suggests it works. Well, it's very, very expensive because it's very person and technology focused. And so the conundrum, and I've experienced this in other institutions and have thought about it a lot, is how do you afford to do it knowing that if you can do these things for all students or for larger numbers of students, they're going to persist. You're going to really move the needle. You're going to have more students graduating, transferring in gainful employment. That has implications for economic development, moving students from public assistance to family sustaining wages, taxpayers, on and on and on. Why isn't this happening in other areas? Well, everyone is lamenting the fact that we just need a big grant, or we need a big infusion of state or federal money, and that never comes, right? So a number of people in this HCCC family came up with an idea that I am now loving to talk about, because I think it is second to none in anything I've ever seen in terms of its impact and transformational outcomes. We used federal stimulus funds as seed funding to test the hypothesis that if we scale this to more students, not only will they be retained at a much higher rate, similar to what we see in EOF, but the revenue associated with that enhanced retention in the form of tuition fees, Pell funding, scholarship funding that we wouldn't have seen otherwise if students didn't persist, will actually help us sustain the lead investment and scale this to everyone. We had the opportunity to get that big infusion of lead funding to finally try this, and I'm amazed at how many people just stepped up to make this happen. It was an idea that moved from idea to implementation in a couple of months last year. And so last fall, in fall of 20, we invited 800 new students are taking 9 credits or more to participate in this program, new students. It's really just virtually the same as EOF, same ingredients, but we call it Hudson Scholars. And so we had 800 students enroll last fall. We now have a year of data on what has happened with those students. John Orgola, by the way. John, are you here? Is John here? If not, I hope his ears
I'm
are
here, Dr. Reaver. Sorry.
fantastic.
From their last day of school, so I'm staying muted, but I'm here.
Okay. So John has done yeoman's work to actually measure the success of our students right down to the financial impact in a way that our ATD coaches have said they've never seen before. And John, I'm going to say what I've heard you say. I'll probably be off a little bit. If I'm way off, tell me. But I think the fall to spring retention rate of our first cohort of 800 Hudson Scholars mirrored the EOF retention rate. It was like 3 times that of all other HCCC students. Now we're starting to be able to measure fall to fall. And so far we're seeing the same results. So that 1 year plus into this trial experiment, not only has the increased retention of these students, first of all, done the most important thing, the mission-centric outcome of more students staying and not dropping out, but that increased retention, the financial impact of that, is not only covering the seed funding that we spent in stimulus to get it started, it's actually generating net revenue. So not only so far a year into this can we see the potential of this being permanently sustainable, but it's actually generating a net profit. And so this caused us to decide we're going to do a second cohort of 800 this fall. Now, it's not just the 800 students. Last fall, we had to, on a dime, hire 5 new full-time coaches and mentors to work with these students at the staff to student ratio of EOF, which is 150 to 1, which is normally it's, what is it here, 700 to 800 to 1. This is 150 to 1. So we hired 5 new full-time staff on full-time temporary contracts. They, as a team, have just excelled. I mean, they have enjoyed working together. They're pioneers in the work. And so we've made the decision to hire 5 more full-time staff for this fall and bring in another 800, a second cohort of 800. And a year from now, we should have enough data to actually make decisions about whether we can sustain this and even grow it long term. So, you know, as I've had the opportunity and others to share this, this is work done not just at the sort of the feeling level. This is being measured in very specific ways that are somewhat new. The implications could be phenomenal. First of all, if you think about this, the way we approach state government, federal government, funding agencies to ask for funding for operating needs could be done in a totally different way from the current. You need to give us more money because we don't have as much, nearly as much as the 4 years do. And we are, you know, we have an open access mission, all of which is true. But wouldn't it be more compelling to be able to say, based on our research and our empirical research and outcomes and experience, we can replicate what we've already done at Hudson, and there are some other schools, by the way, that are doing this. And talk about lead investment, lead funding, rather than just give us a budget and it'll always come back. Give us X number of dollars of lead funding, and our projection and our goal would be that in 2 years, the outcome will be that we can sustain that investment permanently, but more importantly, federal work study funds, the billions of dollars of federal work study funds that the feds provide every year, which is incredible and transformational. Every time a student drops out who is Pell funded, that money, that federal money sort of drops off a cliff. So if the student doesn't succeed and complete, all the investment that student used in federal money is really pretty much not yielding the results of a skilled workforce that then adds to national economic development. So with lead funding at the federal and state level, we can make the argument, I think, now based on real world experience that their lead investment can lead to significantly more tax-paying citizens and a stronger financial bottom line. That's maybe more than you needed to hear me say. But I think what's happening here is truly distinctive. So in Ohio, there were state incentive funds that they had access to, some of the community colleges that we don't have access to. And several schools there, including Lorain County Community College, Marcia, I always forget her last name, but they're best practice in so many ways. They use the state's funds to basically do what we're doing. And there were some national articles on this. They found similar success. However, most of those Ohio schools, when the state money went away, discontinued the program because to them it felt like, well, we don't have the money anymore. We can't take this out of our hide anymore. But what they weren't perhaps realizing is the net revenue they were foregoing going forward by making that decision. Lorain chose to sustain it and grow it. And I talked to the president at a recent event, and she said, well, our experience now pretty far into this is that it doesn't quite pay for itself, but it pays for like 80% of the costs. And why wouldn't we do that when it's so mission-centric? So that's the significance of the work. And we're starting to see, as the story is getting told, a lot of interest. So I just think this is, the implications for our students, for our college, and really for the whole sector are really phenomenal. And that's the result of some real heroes here. So Gretchen, John, all of our counselors and mentors and everyone else involved, kudos, and let's stay the course and bring in the next 800. So speaking of national attention, Dr. Burl Yearwood, who's sitting here, just received notice that HCCC's STEM division has been named a recipient of Insight into Diversity Magazine's 2022 Inspiring Programs in STEM Award. This is very significant. Just like the college received their Higher Education Excellence and Diversity Award given to colleges and universities. Last year, we're applying again for this year. But this is a separate HEAT award specific to STEM programs. And there were 79 2- and 4-year institutions selected to be recipients. Those institutions will be announced in August 15th in the Insight into Diversity publication, after which we'll be able to make a formal announcement. But this award, first of all, I think, Burl, you wrote the nomination, right? And I remember you did it with very little lead time, I think. It's the result of our participation in the Northern New Jersey Bridges to the Baccalaureate Alliance. And in her letter informing Burl of this award, the publisher of Insight into Diversity, Holly Mendelson, wrote, and I'm quoting her, "This award is being presented as a tribute to the people and programs that encourage and inspire a new generation of people to consider careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. Your award-winning program continues to make a significant difference through mentoring and teaching, research, and other efforts worthy of this national recognition." So congratulations, Burl, and all faculty and staff in the STEM division and beyond who serve our students exceedingly well. You make all of us proud. I think that's it. And with that, I'd like to invite Burl to offer a few remarks, if you would.
Well, thank you, Dr. Reber. I do appreciate that. So as Dr. Reber notes, this award is being presented as a tribute to the people and programs that encourage and inspire a new generation to consider careers in science, technology, engineering, and math. Inspire is what we do here at Hudson County Community College. Everyone at the college inspires our students to take the next step, to accept and overcome challenges, and to be prepared for the future. This STEM award was a result of our participation in the Northern New Jersey Bridges to the Baccalaureate Alliance program, or B2b program. The Alliance is a partnership between 6 community colleges in northern New Jersey and 8 four-year colleges that make up what's called the Garden State Louis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation. The overall goal of the B2b Alliance is to increase the successful transfer and retention of underrepresented minorities in STEM bachelor degree programs. The STEM division here, we utilize the B2b program to get our students actively involved in STEM, to provide opportunities to collaborate and learn at and about four-year colleges, and ultimately, it's to help our students persist in STEM. This is something we continuously try to do. So we accomplish these goals by providing undergraduate research and training opportunities. We provide cross-campus peer mentoring because, again, we are part of an alliance that allows us to connect with other community colleges and four-year colleges. We encourage our students to participate in what's called the Show Your STEM Innovation Challenge, which is a project that promotes entrepreneurial problem solving. So our students come up with a project, we go to Rutgers, we present it, we compete against other colleges. Our students also take part in a virtual speaker series which promotes resiliency while allowing our students to learn about various career opportunities. So all of these are opportunities that students at community colleges don't normally have access to. And so we're very happy to be able to provide that to our students. By the way, many thanks go to our Hudson Community College B2B coordinator, Dr. Fidelis Foda Kahua. He's the one who is really the force behind this. So in closing, we know that STEM is an area that desperately needs a more diverse workforce and a variety of perspectives. STEM is also a career where our students can find high-paying jobs with either an associate degree or a more advanced degree. And so we are happy to receive this award in recognition of the efforts of the village that is Hudson Community College. So thank you all.
Really wonderful. Thanks so much, Burl and colleagues. And so with that, which we're on a DEI theme, I'd now like to invite Tejal Parekh to offer an update on the work of the President's Advisory Council on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Lisa Williams and Jose Lowe, along with Angela Tuzzo, are at the Chairs Academy at Atlantic Cape Community College. It's a several-day program in higher education leadership. And Eurus is enjoying the end, I think, of a well-deserved vacation in the DR. But we're delighted Tejal's here. And Tejal, I turn it over to you.
Hello and good afternoon. I hope you all have had a wonderful start to your summer so far. Yes? Yes. Awesome. Once again, my name is Tejal Parekh. I'm the Assistant Director for the Education Opportunity Fund program here and the co-chair of Subgroup Committee 3 for PAC Day. With that, please note, as Dr. Weaver just mentioned, Eurus is currently out, and Mr. Lowe and Lisa, who are both co-chairs of PAC Day, they're currently away at a conference. With that, I have the following updates. So first and foremost, we had a successful and phenomenal event for Juneteenth. Can we give a round of applause to all of those who coordinated? Yay. We're currently in the final stages in regards to creating our bylaws. So please, you will be looking forward to share that with the entire college community. So definitely looking forward to that. The next item is plans and organizing the first PAC Day 2-day retreat is underway. So for those who are on that committee for the PAC Day retreat, once again, thank you so much for those who are coordinating that. So a round of applause for them too. Thank you. This retreat is going to be taking place on August 3rd and August 4th of 2022, both the Wednesday and Thursday. So please be look out in regards to your calendars and that invitation. The next item is Subgroup Committee 3, as I am the co-chair of that with Rafi Majinkian as well. We're looking forward to continue to work with John Scallion in regards to a survey, specifically on our goals of incident reporting and safety and incident reporting and security. And we are also looking forward to having a safety training this fall with Cesar Castillo. And some of our group members, I just want to give a shout out to them because they've been phenomenal working with us throughout the summer, which is specifically Cesar Castillo, Silva Mendoza. We also have Rafi Majikian, Dr. Ta as well. So thank you to all who are on our committee. And the last update is from Subgroup Committee number 4. They currently have already distributed a survey out to faculty. So we're looking forward in regards to gathering the rest of the results. These are our current updates in regards to PAC Day, our committee. So thank you so much for your time. Wishing you a great and rest of your week.
Thank you so much, Tejal. Thank you for everything you do for EOF, PAC Day, and way beyond. We really appreciate it. Okay. I'm losing my place. Okay. Next, another point of pride. So we need another, but we have another one. 2 weeks ago, we learned that HCCC will be recognized as one of 22 great colleges to work for, 2022 great colleges to work for, based on the results of the employee engagement survey that many of you will remember completing in the spring. The survey was conducted by Modern Think, which is a national organization that surveys employees and identifies best practice institutions, very importantly, in the eyes of their workforce. This is not related to our recent selection by NISOD and Diverse Issues in Higher Education as one of the 24 most promising places to work in American community colleges. These are separate recognitions of the college's work climate and outcomes, and we're very proud of both of them. But I think this new recognition is especially meaningful because it is the result of the confidential assessments of work environment and culture by our faculty and staff. And HCCC is being recognized for excellence in 5 areas: professional development, shared governance, faculty experience, diversity, inclusion, and belonging, and confidence in senior leadership. Our recognition as a 22 great college to work for. It will result in national media exposure, both print and online, in the Chronicle of Higher Education. The announcement of the national award winners will be made in September in the Chronicle, after which we, of course, are going to issue a news release. But again, I want to thank you all for making this additional HCCC Point of Pride possible. I do want to again thank our colleague, Vice President Anna Kropitsky, for coordinating the survey process. We tried last year and didn't quite make it. This year, we've made it in 5 categories, so that's really fantastic. We continue to make progress also in serving and educating individuals incarcerated at the Hudson Correctional Facility and reentry citizens through the Governor's Reentry Training and Employment Center in Kearney. This is truly life-changing and community-serving work that we're proud to be undertaking. Last week, the American Association of Community Colleges, this is another point of pride, they notified us that HCCC is one of 10 community colleges nationwide that has been chosen to receive a $100,000 grant for the Metallica Scholars Initiative funded by the All Within My Hands Foundation. In her letter to me, AACC Senior Vice President for Academic and Workforce Development, Jennifer Worth, wrote, quoting, "With such high quality responses nationwide, the final selection process was highly competitive. On behalf of the All Within My Hands Foundation and AACC, it's my pleasure to inform you that your submission has been selected as one of the top 10 nationally to receive funding. This grant award will be used to fund tuition for students who were previously incarcerated. The funded tuition will in turn cover the costs of materials, equipment, and the American Welding Society certification exam, which, so we have a cohort that's going to be doing welding training, which we know with that certification can lead to really significant pay and life-changing opportunities. So we'll be announcing this grant following the AACC announcement. I have to tell you, I've taken the liberty of telling you when I've been told that this is embargoed and I shouldn't tell you, but I'm not putting it in writing. You didn't hear this, okay? but we will announce it later on. And I want to take this opportunity to thank sincerely Lori Margolin, Heather DeVries, Sean Kerwick, and their colleagues for planning and submitting this successful grant. And with that, I'd like to invite Heather and Lori to offer an update on the work of the Incarcerated and Reentry Training Task Force.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'll start out as usual with an update on the Academic and Workforce Pathway Program for students who are incarcerated at the Hudson County Correctional Center. For summer one, we enrolled women for the first time, so we're really happy about that. We have 11 women participating in a workforce program, as well as 11 men participating in that program. The degree classes will begin in mid-July for the women with CSS 100. So we're really excited about that development. We have also added 2 new staff to the AWPP team. I'd like you to welcome Karina Arango and Mockley Joseph. I also want to give a shout out to our now seasoned student success coordinator, Fabiola Ocean, who began in March and is a huge asset to the program. So I want to thank all our colleagues who contribute and continue to support this program. We couldn't do it without everybody's help. In terms of NJRC, the students who were previously incarcerated for the welding course, we're very excited about that. And the equipment for the welding lab has arrived at the Governor's Training and Employment Center, and we're hopeful that it'll be completed by the end of July. We already have 20 students who are interested in the program, and we can only accommodate 12 for each class, so there's definitely demand there. And we're actively recruiting for an instructor, so if anybody knows anybody who's an expert welder, please let us know. And the course is a non-credit version of the recently approved welding class in the STEM division, and it aligns with our goal of building pathways, and in this case, a pathway to the advanced manufacturing degree. NJRC has also asked for a second round of computer basics course, which is going on this week, and they want to make this course a regular course in their program. So we're really excited about that. They're very, very pleased with it. And I want to thank our student success coordinator, Marion Betancourt, who began in March and has quickly become an invaluable member of the team. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Lori. And I will echo, if anyone knows a welding instructor, please send them our way. Otherwise, Lori and I may need to take up welding. Otherwise, I will share that we still have students continuing in the Hot Food Proficiency Certificate in Culinary Arts. They started their next class today, Advanced Kitchen International, I believe. So they are moving right along and on track to complete at the end of summer too. So we're very excited about that. Thank you also to Marion Betancourt, the student success coach for the NJRC cohorts, for her continued dedication and work with these students. And then we are also exploring the viability with NJRC, and we'll begin internal conversations about the viability of a second cohort of culinary students, either later this year or sometime next year. We'll figure out what the interest is from NJRC, what they're hearing from their clients, and then what our facilities and resources allow to be offered and in what time frame. So more to come there. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Heather and Lori. And I also want to again thank Lori and Dr. Eric Karakashian for their leadership in developing our distinctive new cannabis studies programs. Aaron, Lori, I'm going to just ask you, will you kindly discuss the programs and a major event that's being held here day after tomorrow on Thursday?
Thank you again, Dr. Reber. So yes, we have a very exciting event planned for Thursday, right here at the Culinary Conference Center, both on the first and the second floors. It'll be from 11 to 6. We're partnering with Cannademics to host this education event for the community, which is free for everybody to attend. The focus is on cannabis and how individuals can enter the industry. There'll be panels with experts, vendors, networking, companies, and employment opportunities, as well as an expungement clinic, culinary demos, tasting, and more. We expect several hundred people. We already have 200 who are registered for the event. And then beginning on July 12th, Continuing Ed will offer a 4-week cannabis licensing workshop for those looking to enter the industry, with an overview of what it takes to apply for and operate a state licensed cannabis establishment. And in the fall, we're going to offer a little bit longer version of that, and it's being taught by an expert in the county. And then.
Thank you, President Reber, for the opportunity to speak at today's town hall. I'm going to provide you with an update on the cannabis curriculum within the BCH division. Other institutions of higher ed have been offering curriculum using for-profit companies. We chose to offer proprietary cannabis curriculum, allowing us complete flexibility through the entire curriculum generating and offering processes. So how did we end up offering cannabis at Hudson? So we were approached by a community activist who approached Chairman Netchert, who then referred us to a veteran of not only the U.S. Navy, but a veteran of the cannabis industry named David Serrano. And he's currently the owner and proprietor of a business called Hacienda Don Pedro, which is a cannabis-friendly campground in upstate New York and Wallkill, New York. And he's been a constant pioneer and fierce advocate for social and environmental justice regarding cannabis. So through the assistance of David Serrano, we helped create 3 credentials within the BCH division. We have the AS Business Administration Cannabis Studies, which is 60 credits. We have the Certificate for Cannabis Management, which is 33 credits. And we have the Certificate in Cannabis Agent, which is 12 credits. So you may ask, okay, what careers can I do based upon any of these 3 credentials? There will be many careers in cultivation, manufacturing, delivery, wholesale, and retail cannabis. Now I'd like to briefly summarize the 4 specific lecture-based courses that we'll be offering beginning this fall. Cannabis Compliance. This will incur the use of the seed-to-sale software approved at the state level, because many of you may not know this, but all cannabis plants, all marijuana plants are tracked from when they are in a greenhouse all the way through when a person purchases a candy bar at a convenience store. So you'll be able to see on the label the country of origin, city of origin, things of that nature. We'll also be covering not only that software in the course, but also the entire application process of how to obtain a cannabis license. The second course is Justice in Cannabis, which is the history of the criminalization and subsequent legalization of marijuana. The third course is Cannabis Health and Safety, where we'll be offering the OSHA 30 certification, coupled with the ServSafe Manager certification, which is currently a requirement for every restaurant in the state of New Jersey. That's, of course, for edibles, brownies, etc. Use your imagination. The fourth and final lecture course we have, excuse me, is the Connoisseur, spelled like the word cannabis, not connoisseur, Connoisseur, level 1, which refers to bud tending, which is essentially bartending, but marijuana, okay? And that will actually include the sampling, not the ingestion, but the sampling of terpenes. If you've ever tried cologne at Macy's or JCPenney, where you dip the paper in, that's all it is. It's dipping into the terpenes, which is the extracted liquid from a cannabis strand that you'll be able to sample, and you'll be able to verify things like terroir. If you're into wine, you know what I'm talking about. So again, all of these will begin starting August 31st and will be offered at night on the ground, and the online versions of these courses will start rolling out in spring 2023. Stay tuned as we're in preliminary discussions to collaborate with several cannabis-related entities, both locally and nationally, including a celebrity-owned cannabis company that's planning a spring 23 opening around the corner from this campus. If you want a clue, pick a picture in the back of this hall, in the back of this room. He spoke here many, many years ago. Beyond creating external partnerships and collaborations, the vision for cannabis curriculum will expand into multiple culinary arts, baking and pastry, and hospitality management courses. The other deliverables over the next 12 to 24 months will include core divisional collaborations, namely with STEM and nursing and health sciences. The opportunities for degrees and certificates for cannabis involving biology, chemistry, nursing, and medicine are endless. No matter where the federal law takes us, rest assured BCH is ready to take the lead with cannabis education to this community. Also, stay tuned for an internal articulation with continuing ed and workforce development for credit. As a side note, I just completed an interview with NJ.com this morning, so check it out later on this week regarding everything going on with cannabis at the college. I'd like to end by stating that we're very honored to be practicing social justice locally through the offering of cannabis curriculum, providing entrepreneurial opportunities for members of our local community. Thank you.
Thank you, R and Lori. Would anyone like any iced tea? Iced tea? Iced tea is going to help us promote this program. Maybe I'm not supposed to tell you that. But you know, what's really significant here is, as a community college, we're leveraging our mission, which is to support the community we serve, which includes, you know, lots of folks that don't have a lot of money and maybe come from marginalized or underrepresented communities. We want them to have the skills and opportunity to benefit from this emerging industry. And I believe we're the first community college in New Jersey to be having this kind of depth of programming that we own. And it's going to be really interesting to follow. Okay. I also want to thank Chastity Farrell, who I understand has provided a lot of leadership and support for Thursday's event. So if you're interested, come and join us. I know Governor McGreevy is going to be here for a panel. We have a number of panelists. And I also do want to take this opportunity to say I was at a conference at Pasadena City College this week and regrettably had to miss what I understand, and I'm not surprised to know, was a phenomenal Juneteenth celebration. And I want to thank all who were involved in planning and participating in that program, particularly Michelle Vitale. We also thank Trustee Pam Gardner, who I know attended and supported it. I think there were over 100 people there, which is just fantastic. And I also want to thank Royal Manor and Trustee Gardner, who represented HCCC at a community Juneteenth event on Saturday. So with that, let me open this to questions, comments, topics of celebration. Please raise your hand or just either physically or on the computer. Go ahead, Kathleen. Now we need you at the mic.
Two-prong announcement. Prong number one, HCCC involved between Professor Hosick and I in exercise science. We have a number of different certificates launching in the fall. We have the new public, on my side, the public health option, which is now offered a tangential certificate of healthcare navigation. And I've been working with the Center for Online Learning, and we've got 5 courses on schedule to be offered online. I'm wrapping up one, finishing up another, and starting another soon. So that should be public health available online. And Professor Hosick's exercise science degree will launch a certificate in personal fitness training, which is a much shortened version to the certificate that's available right now. So that will allow students theoretically to finish that certificate in one semester, and we're no longer in competition with the local gyms. And we provide a lot more mentorship with an internship, which will allow them, our students in that certificate program, we have 100% pass rate on the NASM exam, National Academy of Sports Medicine exam, whereas nationally, if you take it on your own through a gym, I think it's under 60%. So those are coming up. And then back to NJRC, I've been an ambassador for New Jersey Reentry Corporation for 2 years now, which predated many of our formalized courses. So this is tangential. So we are now looking formally for more ambassadors for NJRC, and there will be, I've got the email here, an ambassador training for all the ambassadors and people who would like to help. July 22nd, and Governor McGreevy will be conducting our first ambassador training program. My area of expertise or involvement is with a women's health navigation project. So there's a brand new, I think we're on our 3rd edition of the Incarcerated Women's Journal, which is an international journal now. and sponsored by Dr. Bachman from Rutgers Medical School, but who's our medical director for the Health Navigation Project. So that's my area of interest. And one other area of interest with the women that I've worked with who have been recently released from incarceration, there are a few who have participated in some of the work programs, not our formal programs yet, but they're CDL drivers now. So they are opting for those types of jobs that will give them a salary that they can live on and for them to launch a new life. So if anyone is interested in being an ambassador, there's really very little of a time commitment. Oftentimes it's just you're the oversight committee. I'll get documents, health navigation documents that I'll look at a document and just render some opinions or show up in an event for a little while, or if there's a press conference or press release, if you're available for an hour to come out and support the initiative. So those are my two areas, health, public health, exercise science, and ambassadorship for our people who are interested. So contact me if anybody's interested.
Thanks so much, Kathleen. Other questions, comments, concerns, celebrations? So, not surprisingly, okay, I'll just share that the American Association of Community College Trustees, HCCC, will be having their National Leadership Congress in New York City this October. And HCCC has been, a group of faculty and staff have been invited to do two presentations, one on Hudson Scholars and one on our incarcerated and reentry efforts. So, okay, someone has their hand up?
Michael Felice.
Okay, Michael.
Hi, Chris and everyone. So when I first heard that there would be a sampling or a testing, which piqued my interest, I was wondering if there was going to be a stoner lounge provided afterwards, but I guess it's not that kind of sampling, as Ira mentioned. I just want, as a curiosity, I just wanted to know, has there been any kind of pushback or response from the community or political response? And has the college thought about how it may respond to any kind of pushback from the community?
I know of virtually none, but there's probably some somewhere. Does anyone know of any pushback? Michael, I've heard exactly the opposite. It's been a real celebration and embracing of what we're doing. I certainly think, you know, what I said earlier is really important for us to provide context for this training. It's about, this is a huge new industry. I think as a community, given our work with reentry and incarcerated individuals, we certainly celebrate the decriminalization of use of marijuana that has really destroyed lives for a long, long time. But beyond that, we're a community college, and we are understanding that there are lots of new employment opportunities in this industry, and we can play a role in helping our workforce and our the individuals we serve in Hudson County to have the opportunity to compete for those jobs with others that frankly are in a much stronger position initially, given their levels of education and affluence. So that would be the context I would offer. Are there others that would like to speak to this?
Thank you.
Ara, thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, so just so everyone is aware, every cannabis business requires a community component. So we've been approached by probably 5 or 6 different cannabis-related businesses within the local area, probably within the 5-10 mile radius of the college campus, that are trying to collaborate with us. So we automatically have the upper hand. They can't partner with the K through 12. That won't work. So obviously, by default, we're their only other choice that's a community-based and like a social justice-related experience, where not only are they partnering with us for their application and for their daily practices, but it's going to allow for us to offer students extraship chances, employment, et cetera, et cetera. Hence, Chris's revelation of Ice-T as our future significant partner. It's okay. You know, that's going to be a game changer. He contacted us. He had his crew contact us. He's ready to hire up to 50 of our students. So that's a big deal for us. And his plans are to open something right here on Tunnelly Avenue. So stay tuned.
Michael, are there any other comments? Nicholas, go ahead. Thank you.
Michael, the only thing to Ara's point, under the state statute, regulation and approval of these business interests are controlled by the local entities. So we haven't really dealt with a lot of political backlash because our local partners, county partners, are receiving approval at the local government level. Therefore, by the time they've arrived at Ara's doorstep, they've already been approved by or met with the local politicos.
Thank you, Nicholas.
If I could just add something, again, it was just a curiosity of anticipation, but I know that there's been, at least in recent past, a difference between the federal policy and state policies, and that sometimes the federal government has been pretty aggressive against some of the states, opening up centers and things like that. That's just kind of why I asked.
Any others? Okay, thank you, Michael. That was a good question. Other comments, questions, topics for discussion? I did tell Ara that, as he looks for instructors, I have some experience making pot brownies. Any other comments? None? Boy, it's a quiet group. I'm doing that.